Alright guys, thanks for joining me here on the Rooming Alliance. We're talking about the TBC Classic Phase 1 pre-raid BIS, and more specifically, I'm talking about bear tanking for druids. Now, I've been trying to stay on top of some of this stuff on the beta about phases and stuff, but it's not the easiest, you know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping I got it all accurate here. And starting out, we got the Necklace of the Deep, which is a jewel crafting BOE, which should absolutely not be in Phase 1. But if you're starting after Phase 1, pick that thing up immediately. Aside from that, we got the Badge of Tenacity, which will be coming with the Ogre Law in a later phase. 50 Pexus Crystals. Every druid should know what this is. It's freaking amazing. Not going to be in Phase 1, but if you're starting later, pick it up as soon as possible. On the Engineering Goggles, it's my understanding that these are not coming with Phase 1. So, unfortunately, you can't get them, but if you're starting later, make sure you pick these up, because you can skip the entire Phase 1 helmet section with these. Alright, so with that, we're going to jump right into the actual Phase 1 BIS, pre-raid BIS list. If you didn't watch my other video, I recommend watching it. It'll give you an idea of what you could be replacing. For here, you got the Style and Jungle helmet, which is a blue piece that you can replace either with the Cowl of Bestial Rage, 50 Badge of Justice, or the Season 1 helmet from Arenas. It's going to require a lot of rated PvP to get, which, regardless of what you do, you're replacing it with the Tier 4 helmet. So, if you want to put in the effort, put in the effort. Otherwise, just stick to that blue style and hat, purple hat, alright? And I just want to make sure I mention, anytime I'm looking at these and I'm saying this or that, it is gemmed the best you could possibly gem it. And the Style and Jungle hat has no gem sockets and requires absolutely no extra work on your part to make work. Highly recommended over this extra effort. For necklaces, your BIS is really going to be this Necklace of the Juggernaut. I would say it's better than the one you're going to get out of Karazhan off of Iron Maiden, just because it's actually going to give you some threat versus the other one. Then your other choice, Mark of the Raven Guard, super easy to get, doesn't require any Badge of Justice that the other one's going to require, 25 Badge of Justice. And then you've also got the jewel crafting BOE necklace there, in case that is available for you when you start playing druid. For shoulders, if you're doing arenas, you're going to want to get the Season 1 stuff here. Otherwise, the shoulders from Heroic Blood Furnace are fantastic. And while you're leveling up, you should obviously have already gotten the shoulder pads of Assassination. Nothing's going to beat them other than these two, and then your Tier 4 after that. For your back piece, you only have one piece, and that is the Thorium Weave Cloak. Alternatively, you could get this Resolute Cloak. I have no idea if it's going to be in Phase 1 or not. I haven't bothered to look. There's no reason you would get this. It is going to be better than the Badge Cloak, but there's no reason to get that either. Thorium Weave Cloak, you get it, and you directly upgrade it to its upgrade in Karazhan. For your chest, I hope you're expecting to see the Heavy Cleft-Hoof Vest. Yes, it is better than the Season 1 piece, and it does get directly replaced by Tier 4. I know it can be tough because it's got no threat stuff on it, but you should be able to play around that. So for bracers, there's not an upgrade in Tier 4 for either of these pieces, and they're basically equivalent to each other, itemization-wise. One does the PvP bracers, the other one is Heroic Shattered Halls. Whichever one you go for, just use it and forget about the other one. So for gloves, you have this one option. The Wastewalker gloves, they drop from normal mode Shattered Halls. For Phase 1, they're the only option. And later phases, I think, will add these other quest lines that add other choices, but they're not as good as this one, so it doesn't matter whether I list them here or not. This is your choice. If you want some fantastic comments, go over to Wowhead and look at the old threads about how whether or not druids should be allowed to roll against rogues on these. Good fun. For your pre-raid belt, I would highly recommend the Tree Mender belt above the Season 1 PvP belt. It drops out of heroic ramparts. Shouldn't be too hard to get, and it's really just a lot better than the Season 1 belt. No surprise here again, heavy Clefthoof belt for your pants, although heroic Mana Tombs, I'm not showing it here, does offer a decent side grade pants. It's going to drop your survivability down, but it is going to provide quite a bit of threat if you are having trouble. For your boots, the heavy Clefthoof boots are actually going to be better for survival than the epic boots you're going to get out of Karazhan, because they have better armor, stamina, and defense. If you need the threat, which you'll probably find that you are going to need, you can side grade over to those in Karazhan. So for your weapon, you actually have some choices. First, Earth Warden is the obvious choice that I think 95% of druids are going to be going for. You also have the Staff of Baraxis that I mentioned before in my last video about gearing up a druid, which is a pure defensive weapon that is going to be hard to be used in Karazhan and going forward, just because of its complete lack of offensive stats. And then we also have another weapon that comes out of Heroic Botanica, which is quite comparable to the Earth Warden and will not require you to do that rep grind if you are intentionally trying to avoid it. It won't have the same defensive stats, but it will actually have better offensive stats that might be something you are interested in. So right now I'm a little bit hard up on recommending rings. Normally your BIS in Phase 1 is going to be the Kara Rep Ring at Exalted and the Magtheridon Head Ring, but since Magtheridon's head didn't drop till 2.1, people don't think it should drop, which it was on the beta, I think, and may or may not actually drop in Phase 1, and Blizzard hasn't actually said whether it will drop in Phase 1, so I don't know if I should recommend this normally, but Magtheridon's head and the Kara Rep Ring are best in Tier 4. Alternatively, the Ring of Unyielding Force for Badge of Justice and the Rep Ring are the best. So Ring of Unyielding Force is a fantastic spend of your first 25 Badge of Justice. Below that is this Ring Yours Revenge, which comes from this weird rep grind with the Consortium, and then this big chain quest in Blade's Edge or something, and getting keys. And then you run Heroic Mana Tombs after you get Exalted and some of this boss, and druids should not even consider doing this because it's absolutely not worth your time, especially if you're working on the Exalted with the mace, because it's just a much better use of your time. But if you find a group that says they're doing it and they need a tank, sign up for it, because nobody's going to use the tanking ring, and it's great for you. Alternatively to both of those, the normal and heroic versions of the Durnhold key, or the Durnhold dungeon ring, are fantastic. Alright, so at the end of this, we get to the mess that is the trinkets. Obviously, if you're an engineer, you stack those stamina trinkets, but alternatively, now that we can do the dungeons, we've got access to some of the other stamina trinkets, which would be the Exalted with the Keepers of Time, and the Heroic Black Stalker trinket, the Argosian Compass, and then you've got the defense trinket if you really need the extra defense. And then below that, you can go for the jewel crafting or the alchemy trinkets. And then you've got the armor trinkets and then the other defense trinkets that you can pick up. Pretty much whatever you got. Alright? Stamina is king in Phase 1 for druids. It changes a little bit later as the game goes on, but stamina and armor. Then we can move on to dodge and agility. Alright, I just wanted to finish up by bringing this back into RAR to just, show what it is, honestly. Easier to see. We got Gladiator, Dragon Helm. I didn't put any of the badge gear in this list on here. Mark of the Raven Guard, Cell, the pads, Cloak, Heavy Cleft Hoof, the bracers from PvP. We got 2 of the PvP pieces on here. We got Earth Warden, the Waste Walker gloves, the Tree Mender belt, all the Cleft Hoof set. We got the 2-piece from the normal and heroic of Durnhold. They are unique, even though they don't show it on any of the stuff I showed. And then the Mark of Tyranny with the Argusian Compass. So if you look at this nice little sheet over here, it shows that our chance to be hit is actually only 49% with this gear. And yeah, this is enchanted. I did put the enchants on here. Hopefully you personally will put the enchants on here. You're going to want to go with the Glyph of the Defender. I think that's Caverns of Time. This is Alder. I didn't even put the Greater Alder one on here. But, dodge is way better than defense for the Druid, obviously. You wouldn't go with the Scryers just because 15-10 versus 10-15. It's a pretty big difference at the end of the day. Then you got agility to your cloak. 6 all stats versus health. Stamina, agility to your gloves. The Cleft Hoof leg armor. You can definitely put that on. This is coming out of Gruul, your tier 4 piece. And I saw Asmongold wipe the floor with Gruul, so maybe you'll replace it quick and you don't want to spend the money on it. No big deal. Enchant your boots. 4 all stat to each ring. Maybe you're not an enchanter. So, puts it 49.5. And then your weapon, of course. You want to enchant that. You're going to have this for all of the phase, because there's no upgrades in Karazhan or anything to the Earth Warden until Serpentine Cavern. I didn't buff at all, so this is completely unbuffed, what you'd be looking at in like Heroic or just an awful comp. If you want to know how overcapped we are, because people like to, say, oh man, why are you wearing that crap? You're over the cap. Yeah, you're over by 0.85%, so that's from too much resilience, too much defense. If you were over by 1%, you could swap out your talents and move Survival of the Fittest. Complete waste of your money. This nicely shows you some threat stats here. But, let's see what I can make it do with buffs. So you got Mark of the Wild, Kings, Devo, Grace of Air Totem. Bring that Shaman, man. Bring that Shaman. They're amazing. Look at that. You see how big of a difference that is? That Shaman in your group. Look at that. Look at that. Get a Shaman. Amazing. Amazing. Fort. You got your own aspect. Of course, why wouldn't you have that buff? Drinking stuff, temporary buffs, or whatever. Look at that. You got almost 19,000 health and 25,000 armor. 40% to be hit. Yeah, you'll make Gruul, make Theridon, Nightbane look like a bitch. So, If you put that much effort into your pre-raid BIS before you get into Karazhan, you're going to be stomping the place. Guaranteed.